So welcome to the day 5 session of APM with Python. Today we are going to start our discussion on the concept of how we can read and write the text files and how we can work with the concept of regular expressions. You cannot see the screen, okay? Just give me a minute, Marian. Let me look into it. Okay, great. So basically, when we work with the concept of files, the operations are known as the input-output operations or the I/O operations. So file reading or picking up data from the keyboard is basically an input operation, and file writing or picking up from the or printing to the console or printing to the file is basically the output operation. So we have got the input operation, which is either reading from keyboard or file, and then we have got the output operation, which is either printing to a file or console window. Have you already seen any input output operations working so far? Have we already seen any input output operations while we have worked? The print command, right? What else? We have asked user to provide the input through the input function. So yes, we have used these two functions while dealing with the console window or dealing with the keyboard. So both of them are used. Okay. So we will now talk about the concept of files. So whenever we are going to work with files, what do we have available is a module using which we can read to a file or write to a file. Generally using that module, we have a function called as the open function, which takes file path as input along with the mode in which you want to open the file. So there are primarily three modes: read mode, write mode, and append mode. And then you have got read write mode and append write mode. So these are the primarily three modes available, and then there are two combinations available of these modes. Read mode is where you will basically read the contents of the file only. So you have the privilege to read only the contents of the file if the file is opened using the read mode. Then in the write mode, we will be able to print to the file, but every time it will be overwritten. So basically, whenever you run this write program, it is not going to append to a file, rather every time it is going to create a same file all over again, so it is going to overwrite the file. And then you have got the append mode. In this, you will basically adding to the existing contents of the file. So if you have opened a file in append mode and you are trying to write something, you will be adding to the existing contents of the file. So these are the three modes available: read mode, write mode, and append mode. Then you have got the read write mode, which allows you to do both reading and writing, and read append read mode, which allows us to do both reading and appending to the file. Is this clear? Okay. So whenever we open the file, what we get in return is a file handle. Using this file handle, we can access the contents of the file. And then it is important to close the file also, so that the file doesn't get corrupted or any data is not jeopardized. So closing the file using the file handle is also crucial. So now let us see a small program where we are going to write to a file first, and then we will see how we can read the content and append. So here we create a file handle fw. We use the open function. We pass on the path to the file where we want to write, and this is the mode. So fw open, we write the contents of the file. Okay. In the mode we basically are going to provide the file path where we want to write the contents of the file, and the mode using which we want to write. Then the function which we are going to use is the write function. So we say write, we write some statements, and then we say close, which is important to close the file. So whenever I run this program, I am going to get this file created in my D drive. Okay. Now every time I am going to run this program, it is not going to add to this file. It will every time overwrite it and print only the same content. Make sense? So I am sharing this small code snippet. Please create a file on your systems and ensure that the path, if you want to change it, can be according to your system, and you can definitely go ahead and change the path. So go ahead and create the file and check from the backend whether the file got created with the contents you wish to write. Okay, so you were able to create the contents of the file. Great. Now we will see how we can go ahead and write the contents. Sorry, how we can go ahead and read those contents which we have written. So for the reading operation, what we are going to do is, so we create a file handle where we use the open function. We provide the file path and then we tell the mode to be R, the read mode. The above program is to read the file line by line. So we say for line in fo.readlines, print line. So this method is going to allow us to iterate the file line by line until we reach the end of file. And then we are printing those lines and close. Another approach is to basically read the entire content in a string. So we simply say fo.read, which allows us to read the entire content at the string, and then we simply print it. So both are fine, both are available. So if you want to read the contents line by line, or if you want to basically read the entire content in one go, you can do using both. So I'm sharing the code for reading the file line by line. Please use it. And if you have any questions, let me know. Why do we put these two slashes before the file name? We are providing the path to the file, Marian. Generally the path is like this is the path. We have to put two slashes because this one slash is known as the escape sequence. So that if we provide a single slash, Python can sometimes interpret it and try to execute it, which we don't want. So we want to escape this first slash, so we put a second slash. Escape sequence tells the compiler that you do not have to evaluate what is written. You have to take it as it is. So you are done reading the contents of the file line by line? Yes, what we are going to do is we will see CSV today itself. Rather, that is going to be the assignment which we will do right now. JSON and XML parsing we will see later, Sameer. After during the time we are going to discuss about the concept of Excel files, databases. At that time we will be picking XML and JSON as well. So you guys done reading the file? Okay, Marian, we will see that a little later. No, it should not affect today's work at all. So are you done reading the file? Okay. So let us take a practice question. Create manually a CSV file with the following contents: email, comma, password. Write down a program which read the contents of the file and separate out the email and password. So the file which I want you guys to read has contents like this. So these are the three entries which has to be there in your CSV file, and you have to write down a program so the output should look like this: email roma@yahoo.com, password, then the second record, email, password, and so on and so forth. So this is how the output should look like. Okay. So to solve this particular problem, what is that we have to do? Do you guys remember the string function split we learned yesterday? So in here, when we are reading the contents of the file line by line, the file will basically treat this as the first line, right? I mean this entire thing as one line. Is that right? So it will basically treat this as line 1, this is line 2, this is line 3. So which method can we use to read the contents of the file line by line? The for loop using the method read lines, right? So it allows us to read the line one by one. So this is our string which we have read. Now can we use the split function to extract email and password? So we say data is equal to str.split and we split on a comma. So data 0 would be email and data 1 would be password, correct? Which we can basically print. So with this you are able to read a CSV file. Any CSV file you should be able to now read and extract your contents. So basically the file reading method along with the split function allows us to read a CSV file. And writing a CSV file is you print a content and you write a CSV file. So new file, read CSV. So I'm going to just pick up the code from here. I'm going to create my CSV file. So there is a CSV file available. Okay, it has got this employee ID, name, designation and gender. So I can read it. So the file name is EMP file. Extension is CSV. So if we just read this file, let us see the contents getting printed. Clear? Now what we have to do is, we have to split these contents. So we say data is equal to line dot split and on a comma we want to split. Then we say print EID data 0, print ename data 1, print e designation data 2 and lastly print e gender data 3. Okay, so when you run this, this is how the information is extracted and you can then use it. Pretty simple, right? No, Marian, some things indeed do stay simple. It's just programming, not life. Okay, so let us try to now learn to append to a file. So the append mode is your A mode. Okay, A plus is A plus basically means append and read. If you would have used only A, it is append. A plus basically means append and read. That means I can, using the same file handle, read the contents of the file. So here I create my file handle and I tell my this existing file to be opened in the append mode. So when I run this program, the contents of the file will get appended. Okay, the contents of the file will get appended in here. So we are able to add to the existing file, not overwrite it. But now let us say I run the write program again. So if you run the write program again, it is going to overwrite the file and create a new one. So that is the difference between writing to a file and appending to a text file. So we will move on to our next topic, which is the concept of regular expression, and then we will try a few programs which basically concatenate string files and regular expressions together. So wherever you come across this data massaging requirements, scripting languages are very powerful languages when they have to work with data. That's why languages like Python are very popular in the field of data analytics, etc. Because working with data is extremely easy and very powerful and fast using these scripting languages. So one such concept which we are going to learn, and what we are going to learn in here is generic until we go to the exact Python program. So this concept can be extrapolated to any programming language. It's a global concept about regular expression which we are going to discuss. So regular expression or regex is effectively a pattern which is created to match information from a set of strings. So regex is effectively a pattern created to match information from a set of strings or from a set of data. Whenever we have created a document, have you ever tried to use a search function or a search replace function while trying to edit the document or trying to find some information? For example, you write a notepad or you basically create a Word document, etc. For example, this is a document which is available. Let us say I want to search in here the text Python. So wherever Python will come, it will get highlighted, right? Those lines are getting highlighted wherever Python is coming. Now if I want, I can use another feature of a Word document to replace the word Python with, let's say, Java. So this feature basically is using a regex engine at the back end. So to create these patterns, what we have available are something called as the meta characters. Okay. So there are these set of meta characters available which helps us create those patterns. So we will see a set of meta characters, use them, then we will see another set. So dot basically represents any character. Star represents zero or more occurrence of previous expression. Plus represents one or more occurrence of previous expression. Question mark represents 0 or 1 occurrence of previous expression. So dot represents any character, star represents 0 or more occurrence of previous expression, plus represents 1 or more occurrence of previous expression. Question mark represents 0 or 1 occurrence of previous expression. Caret symbol is basically start of an expression. Dollar is end of an expression. A to Z basically means any alphabet. Capital A to Z basically means any caps alphabet. 0 to 9 means any digit. M means exactly M times. Means minimum M times, maximum N times. So using some of these meta characters, I can create my patterns to create my regular expression to perform a match and give us back some information from a set of data. So let us say I have some data points available like this. What is your observation about this data? What is that you observe which will help you create the pattern? There indeed is a pattern available. What is that? Yes, there are repeated characters, which is occurrence of A. Anything else? Starts with C, ends with T, have 0 or more occurrences of A, right? So how do you say start with C? This is the symbol of start, C. How do you say ends with T? This is the symbol you will use with ending with T. 0 or more occurrence of A star. So the expression would be starting T, A star, starting C, A star, ending with T. This expression will basically match any data set containing this set type of data. So if we are specifically searching for a content like this is the expression we are going to create. So it can match any of these individual words and give us back in return. Is this clear? How the match will happen using this expression? Okay. Let us try another one. So we have got these set of strings. Yes. So generally it is not very difficult to remember them, but if this is the first time, it will take a while that you become very familiar with these expressions. Okay. But the more you use it, the better you become, and it is pretty interesting. It's not something which is boring. So we remember. So let us say you have this set of strings available. What is the observation for the pattern? So what is that we observe? it basically starts with any character, and 3 are always old. Okay, so it is starting with any character. The end 3 are always old. So starting with any character followed by OLD dollar. Okay. Let us take another one. So we have some license numbers. So I hope you understand that the important point is to basically understand what is the pattern, because once the pattern is clear, replacing that pattern with the uh, express meta character is not difficult. If the character is an integer, then you basically use 0 to 9. Or a string, alphabet is A to Z or capital A to Z, Marian. So let us say you have a alphanumeric string as some license numbers. Observations. What is your observation of the pattern? So first 3 are alphabets, and the last 4 are digits. Okay. So first 3 are alphabets, last 4 are digits. So it starts with, expression would be starting with alphabets. So A to Z, how many times? 3 times. Followed by 0 to 9, how many times? 4 times. There is another way to write this expression, A to Z, followed by A to Z, A to Z, and then 0 to 9, 0 to 9. Both are correct. Okay. So this is the expression which we are going to create for matching these license numbers. Is this clear? I'm sharing this with you guys because I'm going to give you 2-3 practice questions to be done right now. So you can refer to the table which I have created. Create a regex to match any 10-digit mobile number which starts with 78. So the mobile number is going to start with 78 and it is going to be 10 digit. So write down an expression which will match any 10 digit mobile number which starts with 78. Attempt it, please. Okay, this is correct. So it starts with 7, 8, followed by any digit which has to be repeated 8 times. That is the correct expression. Let's try another one. Create a regex which will match a SSN number. Example of SSN numbers. Let me know if this is not right. This is how the SSN numbers look like, right? So write down an expression which will match the SSN numbers. Good answer, Subir. Good answer, Marian. So basically, you have to say 0 to 9 3 times, then followed by a dash, then 0 to 9, and then 0 to 9 4 times. So this would be the expression which we will be creating to match any regex. Now, there are some other set of meta characters available. Let us have a look at them. Slash D represents any digit. Slash capital represents any non-digit. W represents word. Capital W represents a non-word. S represents space or a white space. No space. So these are some of the meta characters which are also available to help us create an expression. So using this, can we change the above expression? So the above expression I can also write like this. Slash D followed by 3 times, 2 times, right? This is also correct. So instead of 0 to 9, you can say /d. Okay? Let us try to create an expression, although it becomes pretty complicated, but I hope, have you ever tried filling up the forms where they ask you for your email address and you don't enter a good pattern? It basically complains it is not a valid email ID. So all these checks are done using regex. So in an email, there are two characters which we look for, the @ character and the dot character. Okay. These are the two characters which we look for in an email. So let us say we have email which can follow this pattern. So the first start has to always be an alphanumeric thing. So alphanumeric followed by @, then alpha dot alpha again. This is the pattern which is acceptable for an email address. Let us say this is the rule which we are trying to write. So let's say I say Roma. So if this is the types of email which can basically come up, how will you create a pattern which will match these emails? So we know that start is always an alphabet, but how many alphabets we don't know. So what do we say? /w followed by a plus symbol. One or more expressions, correct? One or more expressions. So it has to be an alphabet, that is for sure. So first, at least first occurrence has to be an alphabet, so a plus symbol. Could be followed by a digit. So /d should be a star. It can be a digit or cannot be a digit. For example, if it has to match this expression, it will match. If it has to match this expression, it will still match. Correct? So the digit could be or could not be there. So star symbol, 0 or more occurrence of digit. Followed by @. @ symbol is very important. So there has to be an @ followed by again a word followed by a dot. Now dot has to be escaped because dot actually stands for a special expression which means any character. So dot followed by again a word. This looks extremely complicated, but I hope with the explanation I have provided it becomes clear. So this is because it starts with alphabet. It could or could not be followed by digits. @ is important, which again will be followed by definitely a word character, followed by a dot symbol. So the dot has to be escaped, followed again by a word. So this is the expression which will effectively match an email address which is alphanumeric in nature, where the start is always an alphabet. Is this clear? No, you don't have to say at the rate as one because it will basically simply be taking only one at the rate. There is nothing after the at the rate, neither a question mark or a plus symbol or a star. So it will just take at the rate like it took just the dash. You don't have to say one or two or three. Doesn't matter. Okay, Samir? Fine. So we have seen some of the ways. Now let us say you want to write down a program which basically takes care of these special characters. So if we have to create regex for special characters, what do you think would be? So in here there is another expression. If we use the caret symbol inside a bracket, it basically represents not or negation. Okay. So create regex for special character. A special character is effectively neither a word nor a digit, neither a space. So something which matches neither a word nor a digit nor a space is a special character. So this can match your special character symbols. Make sense? So with this information, we will take a short break of 10 minutes and after that we will see how we can write down a program in Python which takes input either from the user or reads from a file and implements regular expression on it to fetch some information. So we will meet by 8:50 IST. So it's around 8:40 in my clock. In next 10 minutes we will meet. So at 8:50 we will resume the session. So I'll see you guys then. During the break my voice will be on mute and screen on hold. See you in 10. So resuming the session, hope you guys are back. Okay. So the first function which we are going to see is the search function. So there are two, three functions. Effectively, what we are interested in is using the search and the replace function. So let us first see the search function. So there is a module available in Python called as the RE module. So this is a good article which explains about the regular expression module in Python. So there is a module available called as the RE module which we import. It's an built-in module. Then we ask the user to enter a string. Basically, what we are trying to do is we will say that if the string matches a regular expression pattern of an SSN, then it is a SSN string. If it matches the regular expression of another identification called as PAN card, which is prominent in India, then it is a PAN card. Else we say that it is a junk value. So there is a function associated with this module called as the search function. It takes expression as input followed by a flag. The flags basically talks about re.m. Flag basically says global match. So if your string contains more than one word, match the entire string. re.I basically say that you ignore the case while matching. Make it case insensitive. So these are two very oftenly used flags with the search expression. So we say if re.search, this is how we give our pattern r apostrophe start of the expression. So this is the expression for the PAN card. The first five are alphabets, next four are digit, the last is an alphabet. Where do you want to search the expression? On the line. Line is the input string. Flags you want to use, we want to do a global match followed by ignore case. Else if the search matches an SSN pattern, then print that it is an SSN, else it's a junk value. So let us say we provide the string. It basically says it's an SSN. You provide something, it says it's a junk value. Then you provide a PAN card, it says that it is a PAN card match. So simple program which basically prompts user to provide a string, and then it tries to match whether the string matches any of the expected patterns to be either an SSN or a PAN card. Will you try this program at your end, and then I will give you another program to try. works. So you guys have to write down a program which expects from user a NRIC number. It's basically an identification number for people living in Singapore. So it's a nine entity long alphanumeric where first and last are characters. In between you have digits. So some sample is provided. So write down a program which asks user to enter a NRIC number, and it basically tells it's a valid entry or an invalid entry. So try out this program. Share the code once you guys are done. Fine. So you have both shared the program and it's correct. Feeling a little bit confident? Yes, Marian. So if you don't use the flag re.I, it will not ignore the alphabet small and then you can enforce it. Okay, now we are going to see another important function. So we have a search function, then we have got a substitute function. So the purpose of substitute function is to basically replace a pattern with another information. So let us say here we have got a string which basically displays a phone number. So it has got this number with dashes, a hash symbol, and this is a phone number. Now from this string, if I just want to extract the phone number, what would I do? So a very simple replacement is, I say num is equal to re dot substitute anything which is a non-digit by nothing, and I pass the phone string. So it basically is going to search for in this entire expression anything which is a non-digit, and it is going to replace it with nothing, and where it will perform this operation, it will perform this operation on a string which is represented by the variable phone, and then we simply say print phone. Okay, so from this we were able to extract only the phone number. Is this clear? Pretty simple, right? Okay, then we will see a, yes, it ignored the dashes because dashes are also non-digit. So anything which is a non-digit is basically replaced or substituted with nothing. So substitute anything which is a non-digit with nothing. Phone is effectively the string. It's the string. Yes, it is the input string. It is the data on which you want to run the substitute operation. Okay, sorry about that. So let us say you want to substitute it with a space. This would be your output. So wherever it matches a non-digit, it will basically print a space. Okay. Any other question in the substitute function? Here, try it out at your end. Okay, any other question you guys have? Now let us have a look at the split function which can work with the regular expression. So we say re dot split, we provide the pattern based on which we want to split and we say this is the string. This pattern represents anything which is a non-word and it occurs more than one time. So anything which is a non-word and it occurs more than one time, we want it to be split. What is a non-word in here? Is there a non-word in this particular string? The three dots. So it will split on the three dots and it will also split on the empty spaces because everything besides that is a non-word. This is a word, test is a word. Anything other than that is a non-word. So it will split on these three dots and these empty spaces to provide us with this string. A one-line method to work with the split function with the help of the regular expression module. Make sense? Yes, that is what the split does. Split returns you a list of substrings. That is the behavior of the split function. Is this clear? Okay. So we'll take some of the assignments we have tried in the session, rather a lot of them. Write down a program which reads the contents of the file and prints only the mobile number from it. So you have contents. So there are some content available using which you can create the file. It has got some mobile numbers in it. So you have to write down a program which will extract the mobile numbers from this content and work with it. Your second question is, okay, no second question, only one question. Rest all we have tried in class. Can we use the remove function in this case? Which case, Marian? Which case? Uh, I'm sorry, can you help me recall where we discussed about the remove function? I don't remember. Was there a remove function discussed? Where did we do it? Strings. The purpose of remove is to delete information, right? From the list. We are not removing any information from here. We are just extracting information and returning it in a list of substrings. It is not same as removal. There is no deletion of information. Sure. Any other questions you guys have for today's session? Okay. Okay then guys, I will see you next weekend, and at that time we may decide that we might switch to weekdays, and we will not be increasing the frequency of the session per week. We'll be sticking to 2 sessions in a week. So don't worry about the pace and all. You will get time to practice, and we will be covering only a specified content during that week, like planned for the weekends. So by next week, I will let you know the time for the weekday session. I understand that you guys are available at the same time on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So thank you.